Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is AJ, and if this is your first time stopping by, you're highly welcome. So in today's video, we are starting off by cleansing the face with our Adventure Micellar cleansing water. The next thing I'll be doing is to apply my moisturizer. Her skin is pretty dry, so I'll be going in with two moisturizer. So I'll be starting by hydrating her skin with my moisturizing mat, after which I'm going to use my fan to dry it up. After doing that, then I'll be going in with my second moisturizer, which is a mismetic moisturizer. So after applying my mismetic moisturizer, I'm still going to use my fan to dry it up. So after each process, make sure you dry the product up before going to the next process.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright.
For primer, I'm going to be using my Mismetic Aqua Grip Primer. So I'm going to apply it all over the face except her under eye. After applying my primer, I still use my fan to dry it up before going to the next process. Always remember to use your fan to dry the product before going to the next process. It's very essential. So for foundation, I'm going to be using these two shades of foundation from V Beauty and Adventure to get her required skin tone. So try to mix your foundation in such a way that it matches her skin. So if your client's skin is fair and the face is dark, you have to make the face fair to match her skin. If the face is dark and the skin is fair, you have to match the face with the skin. So I'll be mixing these two shades to get her required skin tone. After which, I'm going to be using my soft and damp. When I say soft and damp, it means it should be moist. When you press it, water should not come out from it. I'll be using my soft and damp beauty sponge to just tap the product into her skin. So when you're blending, you're just tapping gently. You don't have to push. You don't have to use a beauty sponge to blend. To brush like you're brushing the foundation. No, you just tap gently. You're pressing in the product into her skin gently. Do not apply pressure when doing so. So when blending my foundation, I always make sure that I use the excess foundation on my beauty sponge. When I'm blending around the neck, around the mandible, I use the excess foundation on my beauty sponge to just blend around the neck. So to contour her face, I'll be using my foundation, which is two shades darker than her skin tone. So always remember, when contouring, you're using a foundation or a concealer which is two shades darker than her skin tone. So you apply your contour directly underneath the cheekbone, not on the cheek, underneath the cheekbone. And when applying it, after applying underneath the cheekbone, you go towards the temple, right? You apply around the temple. So when blending, I'm blending upward towards that direction from the cheekbone, moving towards the temple. You don't blend and come downwards. So that's what you do. Remember, 1 to 2 shades darker than your skin tone. For this look, I used my V Beauty foundation in the shade 08. So as you can see, immediately I apply around each section, like let's say underneath the cheekbone, I just blend immediately because this foundation dries up pretty fast. Before you know, the foundation is already dried up. So I have to just apply and blend immediately. So for blush, I'm going to be using my orange shade from this blush palette. So we apply the blush on the cheekbone, around the upper of your cheek. So when blending, the same thing like for contour, start blending upwards. So you're blending moving towards the direction of the temple. That's how you blend the blush. You don't blend and come downward. No, you blend towards the temple. To highlight the T-zones, I'm going to be using two concealer, a lighter shade of concealer, which is the Adventure concealer, and a darker shade, which is the exclusive concealer. So I'll start applying the lighter shade of concealer, that's the Adventure, around the inner corner, under your eye, and then towards the outer corner, I'm going to be using the darker shade, which is the exclusive concealer. So I'm going to apply the lighter shade on the nose, the chin, under the eye, and the forehead. So after applying it, I'm going to be using my soft and damp beauty sponge. So I start blending from the outer corner of the eye, moving towards the inner corner. So when I'm blending, I'm making sure that I'm getting rid of any harsh line between the blush and the concealer. You don't have to see like a line separating the blush and the concealer. It has to be a smooth transition. To contour the side of her nose, I'm going to be using my V Beauty foundation in the shade 08. After which, I'll be using my beauty sponge to blend everything in. So when doing that, I make sure I blend very well to ensure there's no harsh line. So when I'm done, to set everything, I'm going to be using my Kiss Beauty setting spray to set everything and my fan to dry it up.
I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright. And for the first time in a long time, I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot.
So to set the face, I'm going to be using my Miracle setting powder in the shade Ginger and my powder puff. So I just set the highlighted area, that's the under eye, or that's the T-zone, the under the eye, the nose, the forehead and the chin. So when setting is different from baking. Use one layer of the setting powder.
I'm not falling. I'll push all my chips and call all in. I'll bet on myself, you keep stalling. I hear destiny and it's calling. I'll keep my head.
So to set the rest of her face, I'm going to be using my powder from the V Beauty powder palette, which is equivalent to her skin tone, to set all the remaining area, the blank spaces. After which, I'm going to contour the underneath the cheekbone again and the temple, including the side of her nose, with a powder still from that V Beauty powder palette, which is one shade darker than her skin tone. So remember, for makeup, anything you apply wet, you have to apply dry. That should be the principle.
Back a year ago, I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright. And for the first time in a long time, I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago.
So now I'm just spraying down the powder, melting up everything. Then I move forward to baking with my Miracle setting powder, still in the shade Ginger.
I'm not falling. I'll push all my chips and call all in. I'll bet on myself, you keep stalling. I hear destiny.
For brows, I'm going to begin by laying down the hair with my brow steamer. After which, I'm going to use my setting powder. I'm going to apply my setting powder on it to make sure any oil is absorbed and any moisture is being absorbed. Then I use my small fluffy brush or a bigger fluffy brush if you have any of them. So use your fluffy brush to dust up the excess setting powder from the brows.
But all be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays. way back a year ago.
So to outline the brows, I'm going to be using my KR Brows pomade in the shade 2 and my small, flat and well precise angle brush to outline. So I start outlining from the lower section, the bottom, before going to the upper section. So I outline the bottom, aside from the beginning. When I'm moving towards the end, I just tilt downward. So you should have the shape of the brows you want to produce in mind, so that you try to produce a tiny outline. So when I'm done with the lower section, I move forward to the upper section. So having the shape in mind, I try to make sure that it depends on what the client wants. There's some clients that like when the brows are big, there's some others that want when it's smaller. So try to make sure you minimize the space when you produce the outline, because making a larger outline, you have to mean that you have to over conceal if you want small brows, to reduce the size of the brows. To fill in the brows, I'm going to be using my well sharpened and precise pointed Davis pencil in the shade 018. So for fair skin, I always use 018. Meanwhile, for dark skin, I use 003. So I'm using my well sharpened Davis pencil to produce tiny hair-like stroke. So when producing it, if the head of the pencil is no longer pointed, you have to sharpen it again. Or if you have another sharpened pencil, you just replace it with it. So you produce tiny hair-like stroke from the beginning to the end. So to conceal the brow, my normal routine is to use a darker foundation, the one which is one shade darker than her skin, for the beginning, which I use V Beauty foundation, and a lighter foundation for the ending, which I still use a lighter shade of V Beauty foundation. So that's my routine. I start concealing the beginning of the brows with a darker shade of foundation, one shade darker, and a lighter shade for the ending. And then for the upper section, I still use a one shade darker foundation than her skin tone, with the aid of my small flat angle brush. So after concealing, I make sure I still use my fluffy brush, small fluffy brush. You use an angle small fluffy brush or a round fluffy brush to blend in the excess foundation or concealer. So I like using foundation as usual because it's very easy to blend. Guys, please forgive your girl. I'm really sorry. I uploaded a separate video for eyeshadow tutorial. I didn't hear would have made the video a little bit too long, so I had to upload a separate video. So if you want to see how I achieved this eyeshadow look, just check the previous video before this one. So I uploaded a separate video for that. So to line the under eye, I'm still using the dark shade of brow pomade from that KL makeup in the shade 1. So I just use my powder puff to just pull her eyes downwards and apply the dark shade on the waterline using my angle brush. So when I was done with that, I just used my brush to dust off the excess eyeshadow fallout, after which I went into blending the setting powder and the baked area. So I was just pressing in. When blending, I don't like brush, I just use my brush to press in the setting powder into her skin. So for blush, I'm going to be using this orange shade from my exclusive blush palette. So I just apply the blush around the apple of her cheek, blending moving towards the temple. After which I use my Kiss Beauty setting spray to just melt everything in. Then I use my fan to dry it up before going to the lips. So for the lips, I'm going to be outlining it with the same brows pomade I used in outlining the brows to outline the lips. So after which I'm going to use my small fluffy brush again to blend in everything. So after outlining, you have to blend. You don't want any harsh line or demarcation between the lip color. So when after applying and blending, I'm going to be using this orange like shade from my lip palette to apply on it. So after applying, I'm going to ask her to smack a little, and then I'll use my fluffy brush to blend in such that there will be no demarcation between the color I used in outlining and the orange shade. So after thorough blending, I'm still going to go in with my concealer. So I'll just apply a touch up of my spotless concealer on the lower lips, and I'll ask her to smack. Then after which, I'm just going to use my fluffy brush to blend in everything. So after doing that, I just use this purple shade of lip stain to further outline the lips with the aid of my angle brush. So I just wanted the lips to pop out. So after which, I used my small fluffy brush again to blend in everything. Then I went in with my clear lip gloss and my flat brush to apply the lip gloss on the lips. So for highlighter, I'm going to be using my Blossom highlighter palette and my fluffy brush, small fluffy brush to apply the highlighter. So I just apply my highlighter directly above the blush. That's on the cheek. It should be directly on the cheek. So I use my fluffy brush, small fluffy brush to just apply the blush directly on the highlighter, sorry, directly on the cheek, the nose, and a little. I just use the excess on the brush to apply on the forehead and then the chin. So I wanted that glow. So to seal the makeup and lock everything in, I use my all-nighter spray to just lock the makeup in. So guys, we have come to the end. Thank you so much for watching. And what do you think about the video? Just leave your comment at the comment section. If you have any recommendation, just let me know at the comment section. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so. Bye. Thank you. See you all in the next video.
I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright. And for the first time in a long time, I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same.